It's back, Michelle, and we wanted to bring you the best perspective of Seattle tonight right here from Cary Park. And things actually not looking too bad, but you can clearly say we have got some hazy skies. Aboard the 70-foot Neptune's car, an obvious discovery looming high above in the sky.
It was a beautiful night. But we had the first night of wildfire smoke.
Today, those dreaded hazy skies bringing disappointment and worry to companies like Saline Seattle, who do business outdoors. Last year, the company lost 6 days of profits because of thick wildfire smoke that socked Seattle in for days.
When we saw the smoke tonight and the sun was just a big red blob in the sky, I'm thinking, is this the next month of the summer?
The Puget Sound Clean Air Agency says at least not for now, but today's high smoke could lurk down low within hours.
It probably isn't going to stick around long, but we could start seeing that tomorrow morning, late morning.
And tomorrow, air quality scientist Phil Swartzendruber says more smoke could be on its way from fires in Northern California, smoke that will likely be lower to the ground.
At this point, it looks like it's not going to be too bad. It would be in the moderate is what we're expecting.
Today, wildfire smoke creating unhealthy conditions in some areas in Whatcom County. The image on the left captured today. The image on the right taken earlier this year. Back in Seattle, many watching and waiting.
I don't smell it yet, but it's definitely looking like it could be bad.
Scientists say we've been very lucky so far this summer, but to be prepared for more smoke in the days and weeks to come.
We're expecting a lot more weeks and months of fire potential hazard. So this is something we should be ready to deal with and think about being prepared for the rest of the summer.
Here's what's left of that vacant building here in Tacoma. Take a look at this. Fire crews have been spending most of the day trying to put out some of the hot spots. But what was most concerning, especially for Sam Yam, was that the fire was just a few feet away from his business, Dockside Donuts.
The fire come out from this side.
Sam Yam was working overnight at his donut shop, baking away, getting ready for the morning rush of folks wanting their jelly-filled fix. It was about 5:30 in the morning when a customer in the drive-thru made him aware of what was happening just feet from his store.
And I said, what is going on? Said the next door on fire.
Yam walked outside and saw the massive flames rising.
50 feet away, I still feel the heat coming.
He called 911 and couldn't stop thinking that it would only be a matter of time until the fire would hop over to his building.
I said, I'm lost everything. I got all my stuff inside the building.
Luckily, he says the fire department was able to get here fast and put out the fire before it could affect his property. But sadly, this wasn't the only fire on this street. And the other one has now left a business without power for the foreseeable future.
It's as aggravating as you could quite imagine, right?
Ryan Borgelt owns the building that houses Bullseye Gun Range, which lost power after a fire started at their electrical box in the back alley of their property. He says between this building and the buildings he owns at the station right across the way, there have been 6 arsons in the last 3 years.
Why is this okay? When did this become okay? And how far is it going to go?
He says he's tried to get city leaders to do something to protect his businesses, but he says he feels like no one's listening.
Welcome to Tacoma.
Yeah, hey, this Steve. Well, Jessalyn Farrell did hold a campaign event earlier today. She says we need to approach the issue of gun violence just like a public health crisis, meaning investing in more programs that prevent gun violence and also supporting different community organizations. And I remember this comes at a time where there was just less than a week ago a string of deadly shootings in 3 popular areas of Seattle. Farrell feels we can lower gun deaths if the city approaches the issue of gun violence with the same urgency they did with the COVID-19 pandemic. On Friday and Saturday, Seattle PD did send in extra officers in the area that were recently hit hard with gun violence. Those areas are Belltown, Pioneer Square, and the downtown core. I asked her about adding more officers to the department.
You know, ask how many people you need. You start by asking, what is it that we're trying to do? And if we ask that question, we're going to be able to resource both our law enforcement agencies, but also our community organizations and our neighborhoods and people across the city so that we can actually get gun deaths down.
Advocates for struggling renters say that they still need a lot more financial help and they really need to know their legal rights.
I'm grateful that we have a governor that has seen fit to extend a moratorium.
Cliff Cawthon is former chair of Washington Tenants Union. He says even though protections in our state continue for a while longer,
people are not safe. That right now people are still struggling in order to get rental aid and assistance. There are still people who are struggling to get access to those programs.
Matthew Lang lost his teaching job and community organizing job during the pandemic and could no longer afford to pay his $3,000 a month rent.
I had to self-evict in November of last year. If I were still in the place that I self-evicted from in November, I would currently owe $25,000.
With the national ban on evictions running out, he wants tenants in Washington state to know their rights. They're protected until September 30th.
There are people that are going to find eviction notices on their doors from predatory landlords that are operating outside the law. For renters in King County, seek out the King County ERAP program, Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Get an application in that will protect you from eviction. And that's the number one thing that will protect people today if they have background.
Property owners say they too have struggled during the pandemic.
Housing providers have been providing housing without receiving rent for more than 16 months.
Rental assistance has really been held up. It has not been distributed to the housing providers and the renters who really need it. And that's really the issue that we're dealing with here.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Johnson from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and all of Western Washington. And don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.